Hi, Amber.
Hi, Megan.
Welcome to Bad Movies Rock.
Thank you, Megan. Megan, welcome to Bad Movies Rock, where we are still in the middle, or at the end of, or somewhere in media res for October, the season of apparently scary things. So we're going to watch, in theory, scary movies.
Yeah, why not?
This one, well, it harkens back because it's from the 90s. And, you know, I'm from the 90s. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but like, the 90s is when I did most of my kidding. Yes. And this particular film, I shouldn't have been allowed to watch. I'm not entirely sure how I got around to watching it. So I was not allowed to watch R movies until I was 16, and I was 14 when this came out.
It actually surprised me when I saw that this was an R movie. Like, it doesn't strike me as an R movie.
Really? You feel like when the hook went through that guy's head, it was a PG-13 moment?
I don't know. I mean, like, they do, like, that, what was it, Expendables 3, that was PG-13.
Yeah, but was there any blood? Lots of dead bodies, but was there blood coming out of those dead bodies?
I guess, yeah.
Also, I feel like they may have dropped some F-bombs.
They might have, yeah.
This had to have been rated R. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're correct, it is. But that did still surprise me.
Yeah, I don't know how I watched this when I was in middle school, but I did somehow. And I fucking loved the soundtrack. I thought it slapped so hard. I was super duper into it. It introduced me to Hooverphonic and like some other great groups. It's just, it's, you know, I loved it. I picked it up. And I was really into soundtracks when I was in middle school and high school. I didn't tell anybody that because everybody's like, oh, you should know the bands you like. I don't know the bands I like, but I do know the movies I like and the music that I like from them.
Right. And like so, Romeo and Juliet, for example.
Right. Romeo and Juliet. I mean, that soundtrack, though.
Is just classic.
Classic. It's a Practical Magic. Love that soundtrack, too. I was introduced to Joni Mitchell. It's... You got the Lime and the Coconut song. That's a great soundtrack. So I had all these soundtracks. I remember one of my brother's friends looking at my music collection at some point, which was already a massive invasion of privacy, and just asking me why I had so many soundtracks. Like, do I not understand what kind of music I like? And I was like, well, I like all kinds of music, so I've never actually liked listening just to an album start to finish. This is sounding very defensive.
Well, I mean, a soundtrack is like it's like a mixtape that the movie made for you.
Right? It really is. And if you really like the movie, then you kind of have those emotions and feelings keyed into it. And if you don't like the movie, the music can still be awesome. And just a bunch of different types of songs. Hooverphonic mixed with Offspring. Yeah. And freaking, oh God. I mean, the version of Summer Breeze by Typo Negative that starts the movie, decadent. Oppressive. Tonally perfect.
Excellent.
All in one soundtrack. And so I was very sort of closeted about my soundtrack love. But I mean, there was this girl, and we all know this girl. She's not the pretty annoying popular girl. She's the girl who's just super cool because she doesn't. She's just herself. She figured out the thing we figure out in college, in middle school. None of it matters. Just be yourself, and if you're cool with yourself, you're the people who like you will gravitate towards you. The people who don't like you, they don't really matter. And so she was just that effortlessly cool chick that everybody had a crush on.
Lucky.
Myself included. Did short hair before other people did short hair, experimented with clothes and shit, was kind to everybody, but, you know, didn't necessarily go out of her way. Just the coolest. And at one point on the bus, I heard her talking about the soundtrack to I Know What You Did Last Summer and how cool it was. And it was just one of those moments, and there were a handful of moments, I'm doing one thing right. And I needed that in middle school.
Yeah. Don't we all need that in middle school a little bit?
If Kate is signing off on this thing, at least in my secret place where no one knows, I'm doing one thing that's signed off by the epitome of cool.
Yeah.
And so I can just have that little fortress in my heart when everything else I'm doing and thinking is clearly wrong and stupid. I'm like, but at least I liked the soundtrack to I Know What You Did Last Summer.
At least I match up with Kate in this way.
Oh dear. The movie's not good.
Yeah, we watched the 1997. Ooh. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I even already gave the date. What is this nonsense, Megan?
I don't know.
Off your naughty game.
Yeah.
We did watch the 1997 I Know What You Did Last Summer. It actually does make sense to give the date, both to place it in the past, as well as to differentiate it from the very recent
TV show.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Weird.
There is indeed a television show.
Yeah.
So nostalgia wins.
Or does it?
Everybody wins. Megan.
Or do we?
Just in case our listeners have not seen this film, or perhaps have seen it but do not remember it, we shall do something for them. We are going to play Which is Which. I will give you summaries of I Know What You Did Last Summer from Metacritic, Amazon, IMDb, and Amber, and you shall tell me which is which, while we also learn about this film. Shall we play?
Excellent, let's do this thing.
4 teenagers share a terrible secret that comes back to haunt them.
Okay. Short?
4 friends bound by a tragic accident are reunited when they find themselves being stalked by a hook-wielding maniac in their small seaside town.
Oh.
This is going to be a tough one. I'm just warning you now.
Yeah.
After an accident on a winding road, 4 teens make the fatal mistake of dumping their victim's body into the sea. But exactly 1 year later, the dead man returns from his watery grave and he's looking for more than an apology.
Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's very good.
And finally, on a fateful summer night, 4 friends on the cusp of graduating high school and starting to live their dreams learn one of life's most important lessons. Always double tap.
Always double tap.
Megan!
Yeah, Amber.
Which?
Huh.
They didn't really show their cards as much as they tend
did
to.
not. Okay. All right. Okay, wait, sorry. So the first one was the really the one sentence one. The second one was
really short. You've got 4 friends, tragic accident, hook-wheeling maniac, seaside town.
Yeah.
And then you've got winding road, fatal mistake, watery grave, more than an apology.
More than an apology, yeah. I'm going to go with IMDb, Amazon, Metacritic, Amber. No, I didn't do it, did I?
Amazon, IMDb,
okay.
Metacritic, Amber. I mean, Metacritic was the longest one, even though it was short for it.
I could not figure out, like, that's more whimsical than Metacritic.
You were right, though.
Is.
You caught Metacritic. It is. Well, but Metacritic still, likes to get fucking poetical sometimes.
They do. And maybe that was my instinct to go with them. But yeah.
Amazon kept it short and sweet. I mean, that's which kind of cheating.
Yeah. And that even the second one wasn't terribly long. The IMDb one wasn't terribly long. Yeah. Well, Amber, I'm faltering.
Yeah, this was not an easy one.
No, it's all right.
No shade, Megan.
Yeah. Well, Amber, what did the critics say about this movie?
Metacritic had the critics at 52 and the users at 42.
Okay. 44 for the Rotten Tomatoes critics and 40 for their audience score.
All right. What's the general consensus?
There seemed to be a lot of comparisons to Scream. The screenwriter, Kevin Williamson, actually wrote Scream, but he wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer first, but then Scream got made first. And so then they immediately, and since it did so well, they immediately bought I Know What You Did Last Summer. And so people think that this is a poor, like, sophomore effort by Kevin Williamson. But really, this was the first, because it was, like, less clever and blah, blah, blah. But really, this was his first written movie. And it got made because
of the
Scream
success
was so
of
popular.
Scream. Yeah. And this is really a rough draft of it because it doesn't have the humor and the campiness that Scream brought to the game and made people fall in love with.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this is cut and dry. Hey, let's do 4 stereotypical types of a teenager and then have a moral dilemma and then make it a slasher film and keep it real simple. Yes, we are going to have a girl screaming a lot at the end.
Oh, so much. Oh, Jennifer.
So much screaming at the end.
Yes. Yeah. So lots of comparisons to, like, it's not as good as his first film. He spoofed the genre that he, of the Scream, of Scream that he made. So, like, but yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, a lot of the reviews are actually pretty positive. on Metacritic. Jamie Bernard of Daily News just said, "It's killer, dude."
Oh, okay.
Exclamation point.
Okay, dude.
Washington Post has this as another Kevin Williamson triumph, a smart, sharply drawn drama film with a moral center and a solid cast of young actors.
Okay.
He's a man who knows and loves this genre. It's scary, screaming, sniggering fun. Continues here. I don't know where the sniggers were from, but okay.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of love for this film. There's people think it's a decent example of the genre, which probably
it feels pretty classic. Some say it's cheesy melodramatic slasher film. Let's see, another person said wastes more opportunities than it does teenagers.
It does kill surprisingly few teenagers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which opportunities it's missing, but it could definitely be more than 3.
Could be.
I guess technically 4.
4, yeah.
They're not wrong, the blurbs.
No.
And I feel like 50s, 40s is fine for this. It's not a particularly clever film. It's not particularly scary. It's certainly not particularly funny. They're not wrong that the young actors put in a good turn here.
They did, yeah.
But I feel like they're missing one of... I mean, somebody did bring up the morality, and that seems to be a big chunk of what's happening in this movie is talking about morality, living through consequences of choices that you make and the morals behind those choices and what different personality types think is right and wrong, and then how they live with wrong choices. Mm-hmm. And I would say this movie does a terrible job of having that conversation. And I think that that's actually far more interesting to look at than whether or not it's a good slasher. I mean, we can talk about the slasher parts of it. Sure, we will. But I would rather talk about the morality of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Well, Amber, let's do so. So yeah, critics, I don't think you're terribly wrong, but I'm not sure that you got to the heart of the matter as per usual.
This is a morality tale, people. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Amber, we got 4 teenagers.
4 teens?
4 of them. Yeah. 2 couples. 2 heterosexual couples.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Jennifer Love Hewitt as Julie. Sarah Michelle Gellar as Helen. Ryan Phillippe as Barry. And Freddie Prinze Jr. as Ray Bronson. By the way, this is the movie that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. met each other on. Mm-hmm. And although their characters, I think, have like 2 lines to each other because they're not in a ton of scenes together besides kind of the very beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Then they wound up in Scooby-Doo and...
Yep.
Yeah.
Love Amber.
Rounding out the cast, we also have one other teen, Max, played by Johnny Galecki, and we also have Helen's older sister, Elsa, played by Bridget Wilson Sampras. Yeah. Sonia Blade.
Sonia Blade herself.
And very importantly, we have a character named Melissa Egan, played by Anne Heche.
Yep.
So obviously our 4 main teens are Ray, Barry, Helen, and Julie. Freddie, Ryan, Sarah, and Jennifer. Mm-hmm. We are introduced to them on, I believe it is a fateful 4th of July. Everybody's high on life.
Yeah. Helen has just won, what is it? Princess of the Coast of South Shore? I don't remember. Southport?
I think it's a type of fish. It's like some sort of fish festival because it's a Fisher Village.
Yeah.
She just won Prettiest Lady in a Bathing Suit. Mm-hmm. Where a creepy older man stood on stage and talked about teenagers in bathing suits and how yummy they were.
Yep.
That never gets old.
Yeah.
And they're partying, they're making out, they're talking about their dreams on the beach.
They're going to be so happy, Amber. They're going to live up and they're going to be so happy.
They're literally talking about what their lives are about to become. Like it's the summer after they've graduated. You've got Helen is going to go off and become an actress in New York. Barry is going to play football for the Steelers or who the fuck ever. And she's even mapping out their future. Their very shockingly realistic future, where she talks about, I'll just be finishing my contract on, Days of Our Lives because I'm going to land a soap. You'll be, I'll have 3 kids. You'll be going through rehab again. It's going to stick for real this time. Like, she actually has rehab built in to Barry's story. Yeah. And she's realistic. She's very realistic. Then they're making out. Then we switch over to Julie and Ray. They're the intellectual couple. They're using words like esoteric and castrate and philosophy and coffee shops and love. And, Julie's going to go to college and be intellectual. Ray's going to go to college and be intellectual. He's going to escape his fisherman past, and he's the poor one of the group. And the rest of them are rich. And so they're, but they're also having sex on the beach.
Yeah. So they do the typical bad thing in a horror movie, which is they all have sex.
Never have sex.
Each couple has sex with the couple. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Always a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
Also, don't on the beach. They don't even have, Megan, they don't even have a towel or a blanket.
No, it seems you get awful sandy everywhere.
Everywhere, especially in the worst wear.
Gritty for her pleasure, Amber.
Well.
Sorry, everybody.
Nighttime beach sex. That's what it is, people.
Yeah. So they make that Barry is drunk out of his head, and so Ray drives Barry's car, very responsible, except that of course Barry starts acting the fool and hanging out of the sunroof and such, and distracts Ray long enough for him to hit something in the road, Amber. Oh no.
Yeah, the deserted, middle of the night coastal highway that is near nothing but cliffs. No other cars. They hit a man in the road.
Yep.
What the fuck was it? He had to time that so perfectly.
Yeah.
How you not see the only car?
Yep.
Anywho, they hit a man.
And having a teenager, Barry was screaming out of the sunroof. Yes, so they had to hear him coming anyway.
Real we're golden gods moment.
Yeah.
Took his eyes off the road for just 1 second, hits a man. Now, obviously, you have your moral center, Julie, saying, we have to call somebody. We have to call somebody. You have Ray really upset, checks the pulse of the guy. Nobody wants to go near him, thinks he's dead. No. You have Barry really mad about the damage to his car. And then really inconvenienced by this body that's going to really fuck up his future. And you have Helen staying pretty quiet.
Yeah, she doesn't
She's not...
Kind of will go along with anybody.
She's not pushing things in one direction or another. She very clearly is reticent to push for calling the cops, but nor is she saying, let's fucking dump this body. It's this is bad. But I'm going to let the group... I'm going to see which way the wind blows on this one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And despite Julie's, semi-impassioned wanting to call the police, Barry wins the day by, suggesting that, or by saying, this is going to ruin our lives.
Yep.
So we need to, he's already dead. What does it matter?
Yep.
Let's throw him in the ocean.
Exactly. And Julie's like, but it was an accident. What was he doing out here? It was clearly an accident. He's like, but they're going to think I was driving and I'm drunk, so I will go to jail. And Ray's like, and even if they think I was driving, I don't have rich parents that can get me out of this. I don't have the resources you do. This will ruin me. And so it's kind of, it's 2 against 1 plus Helen is the swing vote and the win. So we're not just going to dump this body off the cliff nearby. Oh no, we're inexplicably driving him to a second location.
We put him in the car. People, that seems just like a bad idea. Anyway.
No, it's a great idea. We're just going to drive him several miles to another location to just really, really, really make it clear that we did not act in the moment, spur of it, full of adrenaline. No, we took some time and some miles to really think it through and say, yes, I feel good about dumping this body.
And really just get his blood all over the trunk of your car.
Oh, dear goodness. So they get him to the dock, and there's this great moment where they're all dilly-dallying about shoving him in, and Barry's like, help me, Ray. And Ray's like, I'm feeling bad about this now. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, Helen's just finally like, fucking, we made this choice. We're already here. I'll fucking help you.
Yep. At which point, the pedestrian dead guy isn't so dead anymore, Amber. He has one last hurrah where he grabs Helen's the crown that she's wearing, and she screams, and they push him into the water anyway.
He is clearly not dead.
He is not dead, Amber.
So they cover up of manslaughter is they have now done a murder. And even more so, Barry jumps into the water to grab the crown out of the now drowning man's hand to remove the evidence of the murder they are in the process of doing.
Yep.
So it's now murder.
Good job, teens.
And then they make a pact to never talk about it again, and then they all go on to their beautiful, beautiful dream lives. But Megan...
Oh, we check in with them a year later. Are they dream lives, Amber? Are they?
Oh, the dream has turned. The milk has gone bad. It weirdly, killing a man and then not talking about it did not just sort of then lead to exactly where you were going pre-murder.
Yeah, all their beach plans, Amber.
All their beautiful, beautiful beach plans.
Been forsaken.
Well, did Ray at least make it to a New York coffee shop and writing poetry? He did
not. Now he's taken over his dad's position as a fisherman.
Ah, jeez. Well, Helen went to New York.
No. She went briefly, but then came home and is now working in the store.
Oh, Jesus. Well, Julie did go off to college.
She did, but boy, she might not pass her first semester.
Oh, jeez. And, well, at least, does she look pretty?
Oh, Amber, this is the saddest part of it all. Her hair's gone lanky and her face is unmakeuped and looking kind of sallow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But Barry doesn't give a shit about anything. He's fine.
Barry's living his life. Yeah, Barry's fine.
No, he's not playing football, but he's still a rich dude, right?
Yeah, he doesn't seem to fucking care.
He's still at home. He seems affected to a certain extent. I would say he seems angrier. And the worst of it all, Megan.
Yes.
Broke all these couples up.
Yeah, they don't talk. Nobody talks to each other anymore.
No more friends.
Heartbreaking.
No more boyfriends and girlfriends. It's so sad. Oh.
Yeah.
But everybody's home for the summer. Maybe they can reconnect for fun reasons. Oh, no. It's because someone starts leaving notes and fucking with them about what they did last summer.
Yep. I know what you did last summer.
Exclamation point.
Name. Explanation point.
The letters are almost comically unthreatening. It's just little white slips of paper written in very legible black Sharpie with an exclamation point at the end of it. It's like, I know what you did last summer.
Hope you had fun.
I feel like the only threatening part of it is reminding them, oh shit, we dumped a body no one's supposed to know.
Yeah.
But it's so the rest of the movie is shenanigans with this killer fucking with them and then slowly killing them. And them trying to figure out who it is and what's going on. Who did we murder? Is it the person that we murdered? Is someone that they love who cares that we murdered them? I don't know. Let's find out.
That's so complicated, Amber. Why has it got to be so complicated?
Because mystery and fun and
twists.
Yeah.
They find out that Julie has apparently tracked down whose body had turned up 3 weeks after they dumped their body.
Indeed.
And
was it Sean Egan?
Sean Eden?
Excuse me. It's a kid.
It's a kid.
His body was found, and a year before they had this hit and run then murder, he had been in another accident where he walked away, but his girlfriend died.
Yeah.
And so they started to think, well, maybe he wanted to kill himself and he walked out in front of our car on purpose.
Yeah, maybe.
And just in case, maybe, his sister found out because she's still alive. So let's go visit her and see if she's trying to kill us.
Sure.
And then talk to her about painful things and say weird stuff and lie a whole bunch. And oh God, yeah, that goes poorly. But that's how we meet Anne Heche.
Yeah.
Missy Egan, the sister of the body that was found.
Right. And they like Missy lives out in the sticks, right? And like I think one of the things we were saying while we were watching the movie is like the Julie and Helen go out there, and kind of as they're almost there, like Helen's like, but like, what are we doing here? What's our plan? Like, and they acknowledge the fact that like, this is stupid. Like, they've got no plan. They don't even know what they want to talk to her about exactly. Nope. They just want to like go fishing with like her pain.
They don't even know who's going to be there.
They have no idea.
They don't know. Like, they just know this is the address where he lived. And so she's asking, so were we just going to drive up and say, hey, we murdered your son? Shouldn't we have a plan? She's saying to fucking Julie as they're driving there. And then that conversation's over and they've arrived.
They're just going to do it. They're going to do the dang thing, Amber.
Oh, boy. Yeah, no, that's a fun scene. We'll dive a little bit more into Missy Egan's character and how terribly they do her. And then the one other thing worth mentioning is Max, Johnny Galecki's character, also went to high school with these kids, was a poor kid, was friends with Julie, but seems to not be anymore. There's a weird, awkward scene of them treating him like garbage. And then when they are moving the body after the hit and run, Max happens to drive by. And so when the letters start arriving, they suspect him. And so Barry just assaults him and tells him to stop with a thing he doesn't know anything about.
He has no idea what they're talking about. Yeah. And then we find out at the end, Amber. Here's our twist for you.
Oh, boy.
Okay, let me back up. All right, so let me try to say this as plainly as I can. So the Egan boy who'd killed his girlfriend in this accident, he actually was murdered by the girlfriend's dad.
Ooh.
The dad is the one they hit with the car that night.
Okay.
Yep. So 2 years ago, girl dies in an accident. Then that year, the last summer, they hit the girlfriend's dad on the road.
Dead girlfriend's
Now this
dad.
year, girlfriend's dad, he wasn't really dead, Amber. He's back to murder them all.
I mean, we knew he wasn't dead when they dropped him in the water. He was conscious in that water. What is to stop him from swimming up out of that water?
Yeah.
Okay, so fisherman dad come back. So he murdered Sean, got hit with a car shortly after that murder, and then in revenge killed the 4 teens responsible for not murdering him but almost murdering him.
And I have something that only occurred to me as we were talking through this, Amber. How the fuck did he know who he should go kill? He was passed out for almost all that. He woke up briefly, but like it was dark. He was half dead. Like he would have had to like remember their faces and then seek them out. Like that is he did some work in that year, Amber.
He did
both on his health and on his sleuthing.
A lot of recovery, a lot of sleuthing. It was all physical therapy and hitting the pavement. I mean, there was a Polaroid of Barry's Beamer, the one that hit him. So I guess if he could track down the car, he could track down the owner, and then he could do research on their friend group and be like, okay, there was a beauty queen. That's easy. He knew the beauty queen because he grabbed her tiara. That's Barry's girlfriend. But then there were 2 others who were their closest friends.
Now, did he kill... So he ends up killing Max is his first murder. Did he know Max was there, or was he just killing Max to fuck with him?
Megan, I cannot tell you why Max is in this movie and why he's the first to die. It makes no sense. He is a suspect that Barry comes up with. It's just, he's sort of Barry's whipping boy, and then the fisherman comes and hooks him in the face, and then he puts his corpse in Julie's car trunk with a bunch of crabs.
Yeah, that's wild. And that's a wild thing to do.
She finds it and screams, and then runs and calls people. And then when they go back to the trunk, it's empty. And that's it for Max. That's a wrap on Max.
Yeah, nobody feels bad about Max at all. Yeah.
Max is a red herring and then a prop and then done.
Yeah, and then crab food. Julie went into the house for, even at most, to say it was 15 minutes. Call it half an hour. There is no way somebody moves Max's body and all the crabs that quickly out of her car again.
And it was bone dry.
Seen.
It was the trunk dry.
It was
bone dry.
It looked like it had gotten detailed. It looked super clean.
And it wasn't even an empty trunk. There was like a gas can in there. It was actually the trunk of a very smart young woman. You know, she had roadside emergency accoutrements. It wasn't, how the fuck he do? The amount of time and energy he put into fucking with these kids before killing them demonstrates a level of, he was a serial killer, essentially. He was a burgeoning serial killer. You could say that the death of his daughter broke his brain, but I think a lot of people deal with wrongful deaths or early deaths, the deaths of children, and they don't go out and premeditatively murder the person responsible and then just go on a killing spree against, I mean, understandable. Those kids did him dirty. What the fuck did Max do to him?
Yeah, Max did absolutely nothing. No, this was him being real dramatic. Real dramatic killer.
He kills Helen's sister too. Poor Elsa is just trying to help Helen out. Kills Elsa.
Yeah.
Dude is just, and he kills a cop. He just starts fucking murdering people.
He just goes, yeah.
And I mean, so Julie gets a car filled with Max and crabs. Helen, you see him go into her bedroom and hide in the closet. She falls asleep with him in there, wakes up alive, but he hacked off some of her hair.
Yeah. That's what a amazingly dramatic thing to do.
So dramatic.
Who put a nickel in that guy?
Who put a nickel in that guy?
Yeah, got him all wound up.
Oh my goodness. Amber has not heard that one. Someone put a whole sleeve of nickels in that guy.
Yeah, somebody put some quarters in him.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this killer is... all right. So let's... We've given you many details. Let's talk about the morality of this movie.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like the trolley problem.
Sure.
But one track leads to a guy, and then the other track leads to you and 4 of your friends.
Yep.
And instead of killing the 4 of you, it instead just ruins your life.
Yep.
So you choose to kill the guy. Yep. Except that this trolley problem actually just hits you immediately with consequences. So if you choose that one track, it's actually not going to kill that guy. It's in fact going to kill half of the people on the other side and still ruin your futures.
And make you miserable as all hell.
Yeah, it's just going to ruin half your lives and kill the other 2. It's as if the trolley problem claps back. It's like, well, I mean, obviously I want to live and I'd protect my friends. I don't even know this guy. He's probably a murderer. Turns out, yes, he was. You didn't kill him. You're fucked.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have chosen to do the right thing. Although, in the mythos of this film, even if they had chosen to do the right thing, I think that guy still would have killed them.
Although, I wonder if they'd done the right thing, they might have figured out why that dude was out there and prosecuted and got him for the boy's death.
Yeah, but they thought the boy was a drowning. Either way.
Yeah, although they might have figured out that he'd thrown him in.
Maybe. I think what would have happened is if they'd done the right thing, he still would have fucking killed them for hitting him in the first place.
Yep. Yeah, true.
There was no way out for these kids.
There was no winning. Yeah. Well, here's one thing that happens, Amber, is that Julie who wanted to call the cops, but totally didn't. No. There's one thing in being like, yeah, good for you, Julie. Yes, you should call the cops. You folded, though. Girl, you folded. And she seems to feel like she's the only one who feels... Like, she feels so much guilt, Amber.
So
her
much
life
guilt.
is ruined.
Oh, she's ruining her own life with the guilt, and that demonstrates how she's the one who's the best of them.
Yeah. I would say that almost makes you worse, Julie.
100% yes.
Because you knew what you had to do and you didn't do it.
This isn't just in the moment you make the wrong choice, and that moment is now in the past and can't be undone. With something like this, you wake up every day and decide to continue to not do the right thing.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing choice, because at any point you could say, "Oh boy, I should still do the right thing." And make that call. Julie does not do that. I don't care. And if you're beating yourself up for it and ruining your own life, it actually kind of makes it worse, because what you decided was, my future is more important than the life of this person. And then you ruin your own future with the guilt of doing that act. So their death is now completely meaningless?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it would make it better. I am saying that based on your own internal logic, your guilt helps that person not at all. You had a choice when you could have helped that person, then you didn't help that person in order to benefit yourself, but you're not actually taking those benefits. And thus, it's like killing a cow and just leaving it to rot. It's like, if you're going to eat it, that's one thing, but you're just killing and like, why?
Yeah.
Eat the cow. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. Well, now you're even worse. I still saw that as cow murder, but you had to eat. I guess I understand that a little bit. Oh, it's just there now.
No, it's just rotting.
And you're going to go and eat a fucking Big Mac? What does this even mean?
Yeah. And you could always go clean up the cow, but you're not going to do it.
At the very least.
Stench for everybody.
Everybody has to.
Yeah. So she's feeling terrible. Like,
her hair is
terrible,
awful.
Amber. Her hair is awful.
Her college roommate just keeps talking about how pasty her skin is.
Yeah.
So pasty.
Pasty.
Oof.
Yeah.
And she's hardcore judging everybody else.
And that's the thing. She hardcore judges everybody else, but again, hasn't spoken up herself, so don't really know where that leaves you, Julie.
Yeah. I mean, Helen clearly feels really guilty and has chosen a much smaller life for herself. Ray, he's working the fishing boats. He wants to know Julie. Julie's like, I don't blame you, but I don't want to know you either. And then she literally runs away from him.
I know you. Yeah, what a cruel thing to say to your college or high school boyfriend.
But the trauma of the situation brings them all back together. And then they start hurting other people. Now that there seem to be consequences other than internalized consequences for their actions. So like they internalized whatever they thought they deserved. But now things are coming home. The chickens, Megan.
Yeah.
They're roosting.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? They throw wild accusations at Max and assault that poor guy at work. And then he gets dead. And then nobody cares that he's dead. Is anybody looking for Max?
Yep.
No. Julie doesn't give a shit.
No. She's only scared by his presence being eaten by crabs and then his disappearance from being eaten by crabs. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what's our only link to some information? Well, there was a body that was found. I assume that's the guy we killed. Let's go look up his family and ask them some random questions while we lie about who we are and what we want.
Yeah, which is when Julie and Helen go to visit Missy and find out what a horror, sad show this poor girl's life has been.
Oh my goodness.
She is broken up because, well, her brother had gotten in an accident a year before his death where his girlfriend had died. Everybody had blamed him because he survived and she didn't. And then he dies by what they think is suicide. And that kind of just breaks her family.
Yep, she's alone. Her mom's gone, her brother's gone, her dad's gone. She's alone, and she's poor, and she's lonely, and Anne Heche is serving some seriously good crazy. Like, she's doing an excellent job of just sort of being, you feel for her, but she's also twitchy and unsettling. She's doing an excellent job of making you think,
what's up?
Anne Heche is very good in this.
Yes.
So as we mentioned earlier, they come at Missy with just nothing. Just nothing. They show up and say, our car broke down. Can we use the phone, I guess? My name is something other than what it is. Also, we didn't confirm we were going to use different names before we came in, so we're just doing that on the fly. And then they ask her some painful questions about what's happened to her family. And learn that Missy is sad and lonely. And she offers to make them tea. And they sort of apologize for asking her about painful things. She's like, yeah, I mean, it's tough, but it's kind of just nice to have company. And after that, they just abruptly leave.
Then they leave. They fuck right off.
So we're going to... This lonely person is like, well, it's even though we're talking about horrible traumatic things, it's honestly just nice to not be alone. Oh, okay, bye.
But they do find out on their random shotgun approach at fact finding that a dude named Billy Blue came around shortly after her brother's death to kind of unclear to like pay his respects, I guess.
Yes.
And they briefly dated, and he disappeared too.
Yes, he said, because it seemed like every time he looked at me, it was hard for him. And I guess he was just so broken up about my brother's death. I guess they must have been friends. And so they think it's Billy Blue, and they're trying to figure out, okay,
who's Billy Blue?
Who's Billy Blue? And so like, well, he must have been in the same year. So let's get Elsa's yearbook because she's older and show her pictures of all the guys from her year. And like, what the fuck is this? What?
Yeah.
And eventually Julie does go back by herself to question Missy again and about maybe him being murdered or something else. And she's like, no, that none of that is possible. Like Missy basically says he killed himself. Here's a note to prove it. And it says, I'll never forget last summer.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Which she thought was a suicide note, but
because his girlfriend had died last summer, right?
Exactly. Julie knows based on the fact that it's
handwriting,
the fucking same Sharpie note as she's like, oh no, this is a death threat. And then she just runs off.
And then she leaves again. And that's the last we see of Missy.
Oh, fuck, Missy. But it's not the last we learn of the cockfuckery these children visit on poor Missy. Because from this, Julie manages to unravel the fact that that the killer is actually the father of the dead girlfriend, and that he was high on killing the boy when they ran him down on a dark, deserted highway. And she runs to find Ray to tell him this. Tells him this. Like, he's basically, it's not any of the other things we've been thinking. It's actually Susie's dad. Here are all the reasons. And then she looks down and sees the name of his ship and Megan.
Ray inexplicably either called himself Billy Blue after his ship, or called his ship after the fact that he named himself Billy Blue when he hung out with Missy. Either one's kind of weird, Ray.
Yep.
But Julie figures out that it was Ray who briefly dated Missy.
Oh, but it doesn't... I mean, she's upset about that because it was messed up to do, but it doesn't matter anymore because she literally just explained to him why Billy Blue doesn't matter.
No, Amber, she runs away like she just figured out that he was the murderer.
She literally just explained how the murderer had nothing to do with Billy Blue.
Yep. Nope.
Okay.
And she runs, Amber, into a middle-aged white guy who then she goes onto the boat of.
Sure.
And a middle-aged white guy happens to be the exact guy that, is the murderer.
Oh, you mean the person she just got done describing to Ray?
Yeah.
Before she ran screaming from him?
Yeah, for no real reason.
It's just, I mean, that's basically, I guess, the only way to get to a final scene where she's crawling around on this murderer's boat trying to escape him, finding the corpses of her friends, and then, Ray manages to save her by other means, and they knock the guy that they didn't kill last time into the water, never to be seen again. I'm sure he's not dead this time.
Yeah, of course not. He's not known for surviving water adventures.
But I would say that while this realization did create horror within her for the wrong reasons, it still should create horror within one, because Ray, the other one who's supposed to be one of the good ones, even though he made the wrong choice, like the selfish choice, when they decided to dump the body, which was alive, so do the murder. Also read the paper, also found out about Sean, also approached Missy.
Yep.
Used a fake name.
Yep.
Dated her. Yep. And then ghosted her.
Yeah. Well, that's super fucked up.
What?
That's more fucked up than Julie and Helen did to her. That's horrifying.
You went to a person you thought you had wronged on just a terrible level, learned just how messed up their life had become through actions that you thought yourself had taken.
Yeah, you thought you killed her brother, and now you're sleeping with her without telling her anything about her brother.
Or
what brought you there.
He's lying about who he is. He gives her a false name, and then poof.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
What is
Ray.
wrong with these people? Why is it when they're trying to do the right thing is when they do the worst things?
Yep.
This poor woman.
Yeah.
Did anybody go and tell her that her brother was actually murdered?
It doesn't, I mean, who knows, Amber? Probably not.
And I think the nail in the coffin for this movie being in any way a morality tale, because in a sense it is, because there's definitely morality is at the center of a lot of what's happening, and there's a sense of comeuppance for choices that the characters are making.
Sure.
Barry is the first of the four to die. Max is killed first for whatever reasons, not because of anything he did. Barry's obviously the biggest dick, so he dies first. He's not the one driving the car. That was Ray. Ray gets to live. Helen also dies.
Yep, as does her sister.
Helen was not driving. Helen did help cover up the murder and help shove the body in.
Yeah, she did push him even after he woke up, so I suppose.
But that just shows her commitment to the bit. The other two
true.
were willing to let it happen. They didn't stop them from pushing him in the water. They just didn't want to be the actual hands to do it. The fucking cowards. I want the benefits of this action, but I want none of the physical drawbacks.
Yeah.
Ray and Julie are the worst, but they get to live. And at the very end, there's this fun moment where Ray and Julie are hugging. Obviously, those kids are going to get back together now because she does want to know him, because it turns out that their decision to murder somebody didn't take. And also, he wasn't the person they thought they murdered. And also, it turned out he had just murdered somebody after they didn't murder him but thought they did. So she's totally into Ray again. You know, the guy who catfished the person he thought he had wronged.
Yeah.
Great. I love this guy, Ray.
Yeah.
And she literally says the line, "We never killed anyone. This whole year was for..." And she just trails off and looks into the distance. And you can see her realizing that her destroying her first year of college was all for nothing, because the guy they took definitive steps to murder and cover up didn't actually die.
Managed not to actually die.
So there was no reason to feel guilty about any of the terrible things they actually definitely did and chose to do.
It doesn't erase the fact that you did those things, you weirdo.
No, but Megan, it didn't take.
It didn't take. And then he came back and tried to murder them. So that makes...
And it turned out...
Now he's in the wrong.
Yeah, and it turned out he was a really bad guy before they hit him.
Yeah.
He was already a bad man.
Yeah, so...
And it
justified.
At the very end of the movie,
retroactively justified.
Exactly. Hindsight is 20/20, and I'm guilt-free, baby.
Yep.
So you just see her back at college that fall. She's on the dean's list, and her hair is floppy again, and her makeup is super on point, and she's back with Ray because they failed to murder a person they tried to kill and cover up. And also your friends are still dead.
Your friends are still dead. Yeah.
Like Helen and Barry were still brutally murdered. You crawled around on their bodies. Also, Elsa was murdered. Also, Max. I guess nobody cares about Max. That's
nobody
fine.
Cares about Max.
But you definitely played mind games with a grieving sister who was legitimately grieving her brother.
Yeah.
Who was murdered.
Yeah.
your friends are dead. You still witnessed horrible things.
She's on the dean's list, Amber. Look
And she's
at her
back with
hair.
Ray. And they didn't actually technically murder anybody because he managed to survive. See? It's okay.
So, Amber, what would you say the take-home message is from, like, this movie?
Well, I think, it's in the summary, the best one.
Yeah, sure.
Well, one of them is 3 main lessons.
Sure.
If you're going to do it, finish it. Finish it if you're going to do it.
Yeah, and the bloodline, Amber. You just got it. Like, you can't half-ass it.
Do not swim away from a man whose eyes are open if you need that body to not come back. Like, even if he didn't come back murderous, he still could have swam up and said, hey, these 4 jackasses just hit me. I'm pretty sure it was a beamer.
Yep.
Like, so 1.
Yep.
2, when you do murder, not murder, cover up, the dude probably deserved it.
Probably. He probably was bad dude.
He probably deserved. You probably saved people, or would have saved people if he actually had finished it. So you should have finished the job. I guess it kind of goes back to step 1. Finish the job because he's probably a killer. Or when they thought it was Sean, they sort of justified it by saying, well, he had a rough year.
Yeah.
Probably wanted to die. Why else was he on that dark road?
Yep.
And finally, if you're gonna do it, let go of that guilt, girlfriend.
Yeah, just don't beat yourself up. Like, if you're gonna murder someone, just lean in. Just lean in, folks.
Yeah, and any excuse to let go of that guilt on a technicality, take it. He didn't really die? Oh, that's a weight off my shoulders. Helen who? I don't know that name.
I don't remember her. Yeah.
I mean, and if you think about it, the fact that they didn't actually finish the job led to Max and Elsa dying. 2 completely unrelated innocent human beings are dead directly because of their actions.
Yep.
Both to murder, not finish the murder, cover up the not finish murder. So those are my main takeaways. Do you have any others of your own?
No, I think that's good.
I would say, Megan, of the 4 personality types presented in this film, who would you say you are?
I think I'm a Max, Amber.
Oh, God. I'm so sorry. That's not one of the 4. And also, oh boy, we should talk.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
What about you, Amber?
I think I want to be a Helen. If I have to choose, I want to be a Helen.
Okay.
Because I feel like she's the one who's the most honest with herself about things. She's very practical. I mean, you see it in the beginning. When she knows she's going to wind up with Barry. She's not trying to be a movie star. She's like, I'm going to be a soap actor. I'm going to work steadily. And I'm going to have a professional athlete husband who drinks too much. But eventually he'll go to rehab and I'll have 3 lovely kids. Like, she is a realist.
She's practical.
And so she sees the way the wind's blowing. She's like, all right, we need to dump this body. She dumps this body. Then she sees people are getting murdered. Woman, if someone tries to kill me with a hook, I want to go out like Helen. She is murdered like a fucking champion. I mean, this is the same year that Buffy came out. And the only reason I watched this movie is because Buffy was in it. And so Sarah Michelle Gellar doesn't just go out like some blonde beauty queen. She fucking scraps. It takes, I think, like 10 solid minutes for her to die. Multiple locations. Yeah. She makes it into a cop car. Then the killer kills the cop in front of her. She's locked in the back seat. Is she done? No. She kicks her way out of that window, crawls to the broken grass, and runs. Like, she makes it to her sister's store. Then she makes it out of the store, out a window. She's getting, like, pulling herself up in a pulling elevator. Yeah. She beats the crap. Like, she's kicking. She's fighting. She doesn't just get got. She gets hers.
Yep.
I like that about Helen. If I had to choose one, but they're all monsters, Megan. They're all fucking monsters.
Oh, yeah, they're all
Every last one of those monsters. At the very least, Helen is dead and doesn't have the whole do, everything's fine at the end of the movie. I would like to think she would come at them with a, what do you mean Dean's List? What do you mean? You still didn't tell the cops why this man was coming after you. You took no responsibility for your part in this fucking tragedy. Max is dead. My sister is dead.
Yep.
Sorry.
Amber, what would you rate this movie on the rock scale? Regrettable, outstanding, regrettable. Hold on, I got this.
Do you?
Regrettable, outstanding, crazeballs, K, or solid?
That's an interesting question. I mean, there are some decent scares-ish.
Yeah.
There's some silliness that's fun to laugh at. I do enjoy just the garbage people running around doing garbage things. I would say that the 4 actors actually do a pretty good job with the roles that they're given. I like the end scare is kind of fun. It's a little silly. I guess there's a little crazeballs, and it's like a K solid for a silly slasher.
Yeah. I think it's like a solid K.
Yeah.
Thriller slasher.
Yeah.
Movie. Yeah.
Excellent, Megan. Do an Issa story.
Well, Amber, when I was in New York, at some point, Maddie kept coming over to me, putting her little tiny hand on my shoulder and saying into my ear, well.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what it was. I don't know why. She did it multiple times and it was hilarious.
That's amazing.
Well.
Who taught her that? I mean, I assume Dan, but...
I mean, that seems very possible. Amber, do you have a recommendation?
I do, Megan. This would have made more sense to do on our last episode. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It's still time for scary movies and scary-ish movies and genre-type movies. So I'm going to recommend Fright Night.
Ah, excellent.
I mean,
I watched that with you.
You did. We were going to do it for this because we thought it, fell into our range. It super doesn't. It's actually way too well reviewed for us to actually record on. I mean, we could still record on it, but we decided not to. Megan.
Yes.
2011's Fright Night, the remake
Yes.
of the 80s Fright Night, is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Those reviews got it right. It's fun. It's there's some good scary moments. There's some good, horror and like kind of good use of blood and violence without being excessive. It kind of sets the tone well. It's a good. I'm sorry.
Good.
I'm sorry. This is my recommendation, I believe.
Well,
is this not my fucking recommendation?
Yes, but what if I to allay your madness? Amber got it right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
It's funny too.
You can always interrupt me for that. Fuck you. I was getting there. It's got a great cast, a really, really great cast. Anton Yelchin is the main kid. You've got David Tennant as the vampire hunter guru guy. You've got Colin Farrell as the vampire. Toni Collette,
he's so good
as Anton Yelchin's mother. You've got Christopher Mintz-Plasse, which does he does some decent work. Dave Franco's in there for any particular reason. Sandra Vergara does a great turn as Ginger. She's so much fun. Freaking Megan Doris, played by Emily Montague. Oh my god, there's a part of this movie that I won't tell you about, but that like dropped my fucking jaw. Like I had never seen something like that, and so good.
It was so good. Colin Farrell eats this up.
Woman, my recommendation. Colin Farrell's having so much fun in this movie. He's clearly having the time of his goddamn... This movie is almost worth talking about because I want to talk about just how fun it is and how good it is. But it's a good... Vampire movies, and I know I've complained about this before, with like Dracula 2000, or anytime I reference the Twilight movies, if I've ever done that. Granted, I've only seen one of them, and that was because it was an SF sketch fest. Let's make fun of this in the Castro Theater, which was amazing, but... The only reason I would watch a Twilight movie. Making something that wants to eat you sexy is weird to me. And especially when you're talking about dead monsters. They're corpses brought back to life that want to kill you. And maybe they also want you to turn you into a back to life corpse. But so from the beginning, he's made to be a monster. Like they put it in a pretty Colin Farrell package, but they're very clear he's a monster.
He's awful.
This is a monster movie. He's a monster. He's an inhuman monster. This shouldn't be sexy to you. And a lot of the reviewers still is like, ooh, a sexy vampire. It's like, no, even when he's in his pretty package form, which he turns pretty monstrous, so he's not always. He's awkward and creepy.
He's as fuck, man.
Doing it so well. And the monster CG effects are really good. Those effects are fun. Just the turns in the movie are great. Dealing with what happens when a vampire wants to get into your house and you refuse to invite him. Well...
He just starts making random comments about, oh, some nice cabinets there.
What happens when a thirsty vamp, like thirsty in the sense of desperate, wants to just he says, oh, you dropped something on the floor, I can help you clean it up? No? Still not gonna go for it? Okay. Burn down your fucking house. And yeah, there are just some, with Doris, there's that one turn where, oh God, it's this great tension of the scene, and it's really, they build it really, really, really well, and it gets to this great point, and Megan and I were both like, oh, what? Yep. When it finished.
Yeah.
It's genuinely kind of worth watching if you want kind of a good monster. Anton Yelchin, Colin Farrell, funny. David Tennant obviously is funny. Sandra Vergara is Ginger is she's not in it much, but she's funny. It's good. It's fun and it's good, and it's a good Halloween movie. And I think it's up on Prime, right?
I think it's on Prime.
I think it was free to watch on Prime.
I think maybe...
Or was
it's on
it?
Tubi for free, and the
okay.
Roku channel for free. And we had to do like something, a subscription to Prime.
Or maybe we
At
did
least
Stars. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that's what the internet is telling me.
Okay, fair. But yeah, it's worth watching with commercials or renting. It's just fun. Colin Farrell's having so much fun. And just, I don't have to take any of you seriously. I am a very powerful monster. I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, pretty great.
Yeah. Fright Night.
Yeah.
Megan?
Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation?
I'm just going to say that Amber got it right.
Excellent.
Yes.
I should have let you talk more then. I'm sorry.
No, I interrupted as much as I could, so.
I didn't give you many openings.
Well, I enjoy you getting mad at me. So, Amber, shall I wrap this up like I always do by saying to you, my friend, I love to quote Jennifer Love Hewitt's 2002 Bare Naked album by saying to you, you gotta know when to rock and rock the roll.
What? You just threw so many things at me.
I did. I sure did.
That she had an album, that it was called Bare Naked. That
she has like 6 albums,
and
Amber.
then that she sang at some point, you've got to know when to rock.
And
rock the roll.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
Who knows, Amber?
And are those two
Who
different
fucking
things
knows?
you have to know the when of? Are those two different situations? Like, you have to know when to rock. And you also have to know when to rock the roll. Two different scenarios. We're talking about two different intelligences that you really... It's like street smarts and book smarts, you know?
I guess so.
You gotta know when to pack the pepper spray and when to know nuclear fission.
Yep, you gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them, Amber.
Oh my god. Man, the fucking 90s and 2000s were just a chaotic free-for-all. She's an author, too.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Goodbye, Megan.